Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to our budget community portfolio series for the month of September 2024, where I typically deposit $100 every month into this brand new portfolio that we created from scratch. If it needs a little more cash, I will deposit some extra money on occasion, but usually it's $100. I try to keep it low so that it's very easy to follow along with at home. And then I use that money to invest in stocks every month, some of which is also influenced by you guys through various polls that I run, or through comments or messages, any kind of feedback that you guys give me. I try to have you guys involved in the process a bit too. But overall, I am still the portfolio manager myself, and then I do an update video once a month to show you the progress on this stock portfolio. By the way, this is not my private personal portfolio that I've invested in for many years. I will do an update on that one soon, by the way. It's long overdue, but this is for the public community portfolio, and it's a ton of fun. It's one of my favorite series that we do on this channel. I always get excited to update you guys on it. And of course, if you want to stay completely up to date with every single trade and transaction that I make in the portfolio as soon as it happens every day, then you can get access to all of that information in our community Discord, where I post all the moves, every stock trade, all of that. I post it as soon as it happens on the community Discord, and I also interact with the community there as well too. So it's a lot of fun. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you on there. Well, you can get access to that by supporting me either on Patreon. It's a great way to support me, heading over to Patreon, link in the description, or you can use the YouTube join button down below, and if you choose the appropriate tier, that can also get you access to the Discord as well. And by the way, thank you again to everyone that does support the channel this way. It means so much to me because I wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you so much. It means the world to me. Thank you very much. Okay, with all of that said though, let's jump into this month's update. Now, we'll start here with how the portfolio is doing so far, and I'll list out for you everything that I purchased last month, which was in August. So I'll show you all the stocks I purchased. Then I'll show you how every single position is holding up, how much I'm either up or down on each individual stock. And we'll also talk about what I plan to buy here in September as well. We'll do that in that part too. And then I'll finish up the video by just quickly responding to a few comments from you guys from last month's video, from the comment section of that. Sound good? All right, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Now, August was actually a very strong month for us. It was a big recovery from July, which was pretty bad. You know, at the time there was a lot of fear about economy going into recession, things like that. It was dragging stocks down lower. So there was a lot of buying opportunities. I did obviously a lot of buying in August, but August was a good month. Everything started to bounce back, and our stocks went up into the green, and we only have just like a couple stocks that are in the red now. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to show you all of it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the portfolio here. So we have a total balance now that is just under $1,200. By the way, we use SoFi for this account. I highly recommend the platform. It's awesome to use. I love using it. And if you use my referral link down in the description, you can also get $25 of free stock just for trying out SoFi. Again, highly recommend it. I love that platform. Okay, like I was saying though, the portfolio is performing well at the moment with a net gain of 9% during the 10 months that we've had this account open now. Of course, so this amount also includes our cash balance, which is not invested. So when we exclude that, our actual stock investments alone are up even more at roughly 12% gains, which is very good for such a young portfolio like this. And by the way, last month we were only up around 5%. So August was a very noticeable improvement, with many of our stocks performing really well, especially coming off of second quarter earnings. A lot of them performed well, stocks went up. So I was very happy to see that. Okay, going back to our cash reserves here for a second, that currently sits at just a bit under $300, which I'll add another $100 at the end of this update. But currently that gives us a cash ratio of 24%, which I think is fine for now. Moving over to which stocks I purchased last month though, I did run 4 different polls during August to get some input from you guys, and here were the winners. So first up, I asked over on YouTube, which of the 5 best performing stocks so far should I buy more of? to which 47% of the votes went to Palantir, and that was ahead of Tesla at 26%, followed by NextEra Energy, Extra Space Storage, and Tyson Foods. So I went ahead and purchased more Palantir. Another poll I ran was on Patreon asking which of our negative performing stocks at the time should I buy more of, to which 53% of the votes went to SoFi, and that was ahead of Baidu at 20%, followed by Cisco, Disney, Visa, and VeriSign. So I purchased more SoFi stock. Then I asked back on YouTube which of our 5 smallest positions should I buy more of, to which 43% of the votes went to Visa, which was just slightly ahead of PayPal at 39%, followed much further behind by Chase, Tyson Foods, and VeriSign. So I purchased more Visa stock. And then finally, over on Discord, I asked which brand new technology stock should we add to the portfolio, to which 21% of the votes went to C3.ai, which was just slightly ahead of Intel at 18%, followed by Broadcom, GM, Apple, CRISPR, Recursion, and CrowdStrike. So I added some C3 stock to the portfolio. And in total, here were all the purchases. I spent $95 during the month, of which $15 went to Amazon and SoFi each. Then I spent $10 each on Microsoft, Microsoft, Visa, Cisco, Palantir, and C3.ai, with $5 then going to each of Baidu, Pfizer, and VeriSign. All very good pickups in my opinion. In fact, they all climbed a decent amount after making those purchases, so they ended up being great decisions to buy more of those stocks. And speaking of which, I'll show you now how each of these stocks are doing, either up or down in the portfolio, and we'll also talk about what I plan to do here in September as well. So let's go ahead and dig into that part now, and then we'll finish up with some viewer comments too. Okay, so here's all the holdings over on SoFi. I have to use a video screenshot, by the way, because there's just too many stocks now to show at once. But as always, I made some custom charts so that you can see the data a lot easier. And as always, by the way, I will be posting these charts on Discord too, in case you want to take a closer look at any of those images. But here's a pie chart of everything that we own so far in the portfolio. I'm not going to run through every single one of these, but a few noteworthy mentions are that, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, SoFi, Medtronic, and Meta currently make up about half of the entire portfolio just in those 6 stocks alone, which I'm very happy about. I think that's a good mixture there of some very large dominant companies, along with still a lot of future potential in them too. We also have many solid dividend stocks like Medtronic, Verizon, Pfizer, Bristol Myers, EXR, Cisco, Tyson. All of those have very attractive yields, which will also help the portfolio consistently grow larger with every dividend payment that we get to collect. And then just overall, I think that there's a good mixture here of many different industries and sectors. It is very tech heavy, of course, but that's my favorite area to invest in. It's the one that I feel the most knowledgeable about. And it's also, happens to be the one that I think does have the most future potential. So I'm very happy with the way everything is shaping out so far. There's internet tech, there's e-commerce, there's AI, there's cloud, energy, fintech, healthcare, entertainment, some foreign stocks, just a good mixture overall. And I'm really happy with the way the portfolio is shaping out so far. Now, when looking at how much I'm either up or down on each stock as a percentage for each individual one, well, it's too big of a list to show at once, so I separated it into a few different parts. And first up here, we have the stocks that I am up a double-digit percent on, which includes NextEra, Palantir, and Tesla, who are all up over 30% each. I'm very happy about that. It's actually kind of funny that Tesla is our 3rd best performer because I actually received quite a few mean comments, I would say, for buying that stock. Some people even calling me an idiot and, uncalled for stuff like that. So it's always kind of nice to see a stock perform well when there's some, some haters, I guess I should say. Obviously, that's not the majority of you guys by any means at all. You're all very respectful and nice. I love my viewers. I have some of the best viewers imaginable. But, there's always going to be that angry little minority on the internet because it's just the internet. A lot of people like to talk trash and stuff like that. It's a vocal little minority. But again, the majority of you guys are awesome. So anyway, we don't even have to keep talking about that. Let's go ahead and keep going here. Going into the 20s range, we've got Nvidia, Chase, EXR, and Tyson too, all in the 20s range there. Of course, most of these stocks though are some of our smaller positions, which can be a little deceiving when you look at a chart like this, because you see so many stocks up so much that you think the portfolio should also be up a huge amount. But that's because a lot of these stocks are actually a lot smaller, whereas our larger positions aren't up by quite as much. Like for example, Google, SoFi, Medtronic, and Meta are some of our largest, but they're up much closer to like 10% gains, which is closer to what our portfolio is doing as a whole. Like I showed you earlier, it's up with 12% gains. So that's much closer to that, right? Anyway, Alibaba also up around 10% here. Very happy about that too. And then in the single digit gains, we have several more here with Amazon, Microsoft, Pfizer, and Verizon also being some of our larger positions as well, but just not up quite as much as some of the others. As for the negatives though, there's not really much to talk about here. C3.ai is barely in the red, but we also just purchased them for the first time this month. So it's not going to be a very good indication of how it's doing. It'll take some time for that one to grow larger. And then Disney is also just barely negative. Really, Baidu is the only stock here that I would consider to be one that is actually performing, considerably bad for us. So that's a stock that has not been a great decision so far. It's down 12% on it. Hopefully it'll still do better longer term. I'm still optimistic about that. But again, overall, the entire portfolio is doing very well in my opinion. I will say though, this does make it a little harder for me to choose which stocks to invest in going forward, because really one of my favorite things to do is to own a lot of different stocks, just take a bunch of my favorites and then observe them whenever those stocks happen to dip or go into the red especially. Well, those are easy targets for me to go in and buy much heavier. Now, I always tell you guys this, right? I'm a long-term minded investor. I always try to practice what I preach. I actually want my stocks to go down, at least in the short to medium term, so I can buy a lot more of them at lower prices and then ride up those recoveries. It's one of the reasons why my private portfolio is actually does so well all the time. Every time I show you guys it, a lot of my stocks are up huge amounts, but it's because I've been investing in those for so many years and I buy much heavier on big dips. But in this public one, at the current moment, the stocks happen to be up a bit. So it's a little harder to decide which ones to buy, but that's actually not too much of a bad thing. Another thing that I like to do is when a lot of my stocks are performing very well, I'm letting you guys know some insight here on my overall strategies that I use in stock market investing, is that when a lot of my stocks are performing well, what I actually like to do is I use that as an opportunity to do some restructurings and some organization work on my portfolio. So for example, if some stocks are a little small in terms of exposure to them and I want them to become larger in the portfolio, well, this is a good time. I don't have to particularly buy too much of anything. I can focus in on the ones that I'd like to make larger. If anything is too big, I'll try to balance that out by adding more of other stocks. If I'm lacking a little bit in dividends, I'll go in and buy more dividend stocks. I don't have to worry too much on price because everything is just kind of doing well anyway. So I can focus on restructurings a little bit. And I think this month will be a good opportunity to do some of that. There are some stocks in the portfolio that are a bit small that I could increase in size. I do still really want more dividends. I think that's going to be very important for us going forward. So I will be looking to add more dividend stocks. There's also a bunch of new stocks that we could add too. I actually just made a 3 stocks on sale video for the month of September. I just put it out. And there was some interesting stocks in that one too. I don't know if I should spoil it. Should I spoil it? I'll go ahead and spoil it. There was United Airlines, which would be a new stock addition to this portfolio. I did also mention Pfizer there. Great dividend. It's a stock that is trading at a very cheap valuation, in my opinion. I also talked about Take-Two, which is a video game company. There's a lot of options. So there's other stocks that we could add to the portfolio too. But overall, I think this month will be a little bit focused more on some restructurings and some organizational work, and I just kind of have to take a look at what I want to increase in there. And even some of my biggest stocks like Google, for example, I still want that one to become even larger. Amazon too. So yeah, there's going to be still a lot of buying here in September, but it's just probably going to be kind of across the board. I don't see too much of anything that looks like I really need to go in too heavily on. except for maybe Baidu, because that one is performing so poorly, but I don't want to become overly exposed to it, so I'm just kind of waiting for that one to hopefully turn around. Okay, with all of that said though, I also added a fresh $100 to the portfolio for this month here of September, and this now brings our account up to just under $1,300, leaving it with a higher cash ratio now of about 30% too. So we definitely have some ammunition to be buying some stocks. It's going to be a fun month as always. All right, guys, it's time now to finish up though with just a few viewer comments. I'll go through them in kind of a rapid fire style. We'll do about maybe 5 or 6, somewhere around there. I just kind of took some screenshots here. We'll go through them. So we've got one here from Zobtastic, who says, I sold Baidu and Baba. I have lost faith in the China, needs to be sold. Well, I definitely hear you. Chinese stocks have been very disappointing in recent years, and we just talked a bit about Baidu there. There is a lot of tension with the US too, and you know, those lingering effects could, I guess, linger on for a while and make it tough for these stocks to perform well. But I just think that the most likely scenario longer term, what I'm really hoping for myself, I'll say this, for sure I don't think that we're going to go to war with China, anything like that, anything too drastic. Something like that happens, I think the world ends anyway. I wouldn't be worried about my investments in that scenario. But what I'm just hoping for is that things de-escalate a little bit over time. And if that happens, that would be the ideal situation, because then in that case, I think stocks like Alibaba, Baidu, Tencent, I think investors would see them as severely undervalued if the US and China can get along. So that's kind of just what I'm hoping for myself. But, you know, I understand these are risky stocks, and they should not be, in my opinion, they should not be, you know, the majority of a portfolio. They should be small positions, limited exposure there, so you can also limit the risk. Okay, next up we have Nathan, who says, can you make a video about Nike? The stock was recently shattered. So yeah, I actually made a video about Nike recently. You probably just missed it, but if you search on my channel, it should pop right up. I did a full analysis on Nike stock. I do not own the stock myself, but I broke everything down for you in that video, so highly recommend it if you want to learn about Nike stock and what's going on with them lately. All right, next up here, though, we have Danny Parker. This one's actually a really nice comment here. He says, it's always nice to see olive videos, no magic tricks or NFTs, just his opinion and stats. Thanks, dude. Well, you are very welcome, Danny, and thank you for that very nice comment and for noticing that, by the way, because I do actually try really hard to be genuine and honest on this channel. Of course, I try to do that in regular life, but especially here on this channel, because when we talk about money, we're in the money field, right? Finance, stocks, stuff like that. You just tend to attract a lot of people that are kind of, you know, bad actors. And you could probably go to the comment section of this video and you will see so many spamming comments from people trying to scam other people, and it's just crazy how much that's out there. I try to block every time I block those comments, another 5 pop up. So it's so hard to block those scammers and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of like mean people. When it comes to money, a lot of people are just kind of mean, that they're greedy. They lie a lot. They only care about themselves. And that's something that I've learned, you know, going into the stock market world, the finance world, and stuff like that. So I try to just be the opposite of that. I try to have a genuine YouTube channel that hopefully you guys can trust. And I know, look, I don't expect you to trust me or anything like that. Obviously, you know, if I'm a bad actor, I would probably just tell you that I'm a genuine, nice, honest person. But truly, I do try to be that, and I do try to set a good example on YouTube, and I put a lot of hard work into my videos. I try to do a lot of research. I try not to make just dumb videos where I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, I do a lot of hard work and research and put a lot of effort into my videos. So hopefully that's something that you guys notice and that, you know, maybe you appreciate. And I appreciate all of you guys, and especially viewers like that, viewers like Danny. You're the people that keep me going on here. So thank you so much for such a nice comment. Okay, next up here we have Lances and Berg, who says Angie is up 29% this morning. I was wondering what you think about Angie. Now it's up 32% on August 7th. So I'm actually not sure what happened there with Angie stock. I'm not. Maybe they had earnings or something. I honestly don't know anything about Angie stock. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The only reason that I know what this company even is because I just happen to remember the commercials of. Oops, sorry about that. I happen to remember the commercials about Angie's List, where I think the concept was that you go to some website and you can read reviews of different home workers, and maybe you can hire those home workers through there. And people, I don't know, maybe you need a plumber and you go to Angie's List, and I think you would see like reviews of different plumbers that you could hire, stuff like that. Honestly, I've never used the product. I've never met anybody who's used it either, so I know nothing about this company or how good their product is or anything like that. I did just pull up the stock chart for this question, so I could just give you like a quick little opinion. But yeah, the stock, it looks like it's down over 80% through its history, which is unfortunate. But looking at the financials, I can kind of see why. I mean, it looks like they always struggle to make any profit, with each of the past 4 years having losses. And even their revenues fell by 22% last year. They're expected to fall by another double-digit rate this year too. So it's just looking pretty bad overall. I guess analysts do expect a slow recovery the year after, but I don't really know what to make of any of this. I guess it's a penny stock. Could be interesting to look into. Might have some upside. It's a stock that is heavily being down, penny stock. But those are just kind of risky type of stocks. Usually ones that I steer clear from, especially if I don't use their product or anything like that. If it's a risky stock and I don't know anything about their product, it's hard for me to gauge their business and their performance, stuff like that, and try to evaluate where they're heading in the future. I would have to do so much extra research on the stock, so I can't really give you an opinion on it. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, for the community portfolio especially, it's definitely not a stock that I would want to put on here, because I try to make the community portfolio a little bit safer too. I try to keep the really high risk stocks out of this portfolio, because this is a public portfolio. I would like, if you guys are kind of following along and stuff, I don't want to steer you guys into something that's very high risk. Anyway, we'll just do a couple more comments here. So we have Da Grandi Man, who says, great update. Just in time for my bi-monthly $100 portfolio purchases next week. Thanks for the update. Well, you are very welcome, my friend. I'm glad that you are enjoying the series, and that is exactly what I try to do here. Give you some ideas, show you some stocks, show you the moves that I'm making in this public portfolio, and then maybe, some of that information can help you out with what you're doing too. Either if you're following along or, just kind of trying to do your own thing, but you want some ideas, maybe whatever it is. I hope that it's helping you, and thank you for that nice comment. Again, I'm so happy that you're enjoying this series, because I really enjoy this series. Okay, let's see here. Finally, we have another comment. This one is from My World of Stocks. That's kind of weird. I hope this person isn't pretending to be me, but they say, I started a portfolio in March. 3 stocks I want to add: Disney, Google, and Nvidia. Yeah, I like all 3 of those. Google is the best, in my opinion, kind of all around stock in the entire market, so I love them. Nvidia is doing amazing things, as all of you know. And I think Disney is good for a turnaround play if they can bounce back to their former glory. We'll see if that happens. It's a stock that, people have very mixed feelings on, but I'm invested in them, and I'm hoping for the best long term, that they can kind of turn things around. Okay, actually, I have one more comment here. So we have another one here from Old GP, who says, with so many stocks, it's better just to buy QQQ. It would be interesting to compare the performance over time. So that's an ETF. It's a broad ETF. I think it has like 100 stocks in it. I completely disagree with that comment, though. If I wanted those specific stocks at those specific ratios, then yeah, I could just buy that specific ETF. But this is a completely different situation here, and I like to have full control over my portfolio as well. So it's not good to compare to an ETF. In my opinion, it's not the same at all. In the future, though, I will try to make some performance comparisons. So thank you for that suggestion. I think it would be interesting to see how a portfolio here can, how it performs compared to maybe like a broad-based ETF, maybe one that tracks the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. This one I think is the NASDAQ 100. But yeah, so comparing the performances could be fun to do, maybe at like a 1 year mark, 2 year mark, 3 year mark, stuff like that. But I also want to say, I'm a very long-term minded investor, so I don't really care about how this portfolio performs compared to the market here in the shorter term. Even in a couple years, I really don't care. I'm thinking very long term. Some of the stocks that I invest in, I'm really thinking like, where will they be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So it's not my favorite thing to I don't do it with my own portfolio, private one. I don't try to compare my gains to the broader market. I usually outperform it, but I don't even care about that. I really just care about what I'm trying to do myself, what my long-term goals are, where I see certain companies heading in the future, where I see their stocks going, and that's all I care about. Everything else is just kind of noise. So, but like I said, it could be a fun thing to do for this series. So I will definitely consider doing that. Maybe at the 1 year mark, 2 year mark, things like that, just for fun. But not something I take very seriously. But thank you for the comment. Good suggestion. Okay, we'll go ahead and stop there. Thank you everyone for helping with the portfolio. Thank you for all the comments. If you want to be featured in next month's video, you could drop comments down below. I may choose them. And a very special thank you again to all my patrons and supporters. I couldn't do this without you, so thank you so much. I hope you're all doing well, my friends. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next video. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.